Music tuning is the act of adjusting the pitch of one or more tones of an instrument to establish intervals to match a referenced pitch. Pitch means a particular note, whether high or low. On the musical scale, there are 7, each corresponding to a letter of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. However, this does not include sharp and flat notes, the black notes on the keys of a piano or a keyboard, which would bring the total to 12. The tone of a note relates to its quality or its distinct sound. The word sound or voice means to call aloud. It can either be of a joyful noise or a sorrowful noise. The etymology of the word music is salis, meaning third part, great lord, or great measure. It comes from the root 3, triad, and triangle. The study of music finds that different music can elicit a varied emotional response based on the voice of the instrument. A timbrel or tambourine means to beat or drum, as in the sign of merriment, yet also comes from the root word to strike or kill. A harp or lyre is a stringed instrument which carries the understanding of to twang in rejoicing or in sorrow. The psaltery is a skin bag or a lute or guitar, also meaning senseless and foolish. A pipe or flute means perforated, and it's anything that's profane, as in a thing that defiles or pollutes. The sound of an organ means breathing, and is also meant for rejoicing, yet has the root word to mean inordinate affection or lust. The cymbal or double tinkler means to quiver and to sink. The cornet means to send out rays and to make a joyful noise. And at the sound of a trumpet, the alarm of war, people shout and rejoice. So each noise can make one shout for joy or weep, to a point that sometimes it's hard for people to discern between the two. What is interesting is the fact that Satan himself was created with timbrels and pipes in his workmanship. Furthermore, the Bible refers in some passages as the sound of a trumpet, the sound of an organ, sound of a cornet, which suggests that these instruments are the basis for their particular sounds, and that these instruments did not need tuning to produce their natural sound. The word solace is found in 2 passages in Scripture, one in Proverbs, the book of wisdom, chapter 22, verse 20, which states, "Have not I written to thee excellent things?" And Isaiah 40 and 12, which speaks of God using a perfect measure in his creation, whether it be of water or of the dust of the earth. This has led to the belief that tuning instruments to a particular frequency would lead a man to have a deeper connection with the Creator and his creation. This frequency is said to be 432 Hertz. Hertz is a unit of frequency named after Heinrich Rudolf Hertz, who provided the first conclusive proof of electromagnetic waves. We know these waves can be seen or they can be heard. Waves that you can hear are called acoustic waves, which are audible between 20 Hertz and 20,000 Hertz. Throughout the years, musicians have used many reference pitches. Scientific pitch puts A above middle C at 430.54. Verity A is the tuning standard where A equals 432 Hertz. In continental pitch, A is 435, but in concert pitch, A is 440 Hertz. The latter is the universal standard pitch. At the beginning of World War I, the German Rothschild Bank, British Rothschild Bank, and French Rothschild Bank began funding their respective governments, along with an alliance between the Rockefellers and the U.S. Navy, to invest funding into a scientific study of musical frequencies. The research was to determine the musical factors necessary to create mass hysteria, emotional distress, and psychopathology, effects which can be seen in the audience of rock and roll fans and that of the Beatles, who were barred from Israel for creating aroused feelings of aggression and sexual stimuli. This frequency is 440 Hertz, which creates this disharmonic sound. Also at this time, the Rockefeller Corporation produced radio and audio equipment that they allocated strictly to the Navy and the Army. It was the Navy, however, who maintained Rockefeller-administered military government monopoly over the radio industry. In 1919, the Navy partnered with American company General Electric to create a front that would allow them to continue using and exercising control of the airwaves. Other companies included RCA, AT&T, Westinghouse Electric, and United Fruit. In 1939, the tuning of A to 440 Hz became the international standard, adopted by the Rockefeller-Nazi Consortium, participating together in a common goal to militarize music. Dr. Lynn Horowitz recalls that the U.S. had already done so in 1919, but decades later, Hitler convinced his British enemies that it was a standard superior to what was known and therefore should be used for the Aryan master race. According to preliminary research, it negatively affects and conflicts the human body by stimulating the ego over the left brain function, which controls logic, as well as suppressing the heart-mind, intuition, and creative inspiration of the listener. Monopolization of the music industry features this imposed frequency that is herding populations into greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, and emotional distress, predisposing people to physical illnesses and financial impositions, profiting the agents, agencies, and companies engaged in the monopoly. Military operations Project Wandering Soul and Project Jericho put this to the test. The Curdler, a helicopter-mounted sonic device, produced the voodoo effects of a wandering soul, in which haunted sounds said to represent the souls of the dead were played in order to perturb the superstitious snipers who, while recognizing the artificial source of the wailing noises, could not help but dread what they were hearing was a premonition of their own post-death dislocated soul. The BBC admitted that the U.S. interrogators were using songs by Metallica, Skinny Puppy, and and Barney the Dinosaur in a bid to break the will of Iraqi prisoners of war. As Sergeant Mark Hadsell told Newsweek at the time, these people haven't heard heavy metal. They can't take it. If you play it for 24 hours, your brain and body functions start to slide. Your train of thought slows down and your will is broken. That's when we come in and talk to them. This first study was conducted in an Italian city. They took 33 volunteers and had them listen to music at 440 hertz and music at 432 hertz just to test the health effects of it. They found that afterwards, the people that were listening to 432 hertz had lower respiratory rates. They just felt like they were in an overall better mood. They had lower blood pressure rates and lower levels of fatigue and stress. In this next study, they were testing out the sleep comfort in people who were quadriplegic and paraplegic. They took 12 patients, 8 of them were male and 4 of them were women. And they did not find any significant decrease in stress as far as listening to music at 444 hertz or 432 hertz, but they did find that they were able to sleep a lot better once they were listening to music at 432 hertz. I found another study that showed that listening to harp playing was able to decrease anxiety and pain. Lastly, I did a bit of my own experimenting where I listened to a guy playing the triangle, which once again is the most basic untuned instrument, and I recorded the pitch of each time he hit the triangle. I wanted to know which sounded better, this so-called international pitch or what the pitch is actually recorded as. So I want you to take a listen and tell me what you think sounds better. I would love to know your thoughts. Okay, and I'll see you in the next video.